Ever wondered if there's a smarter way for businesses to handle international transactions without the hefty fees and delays of traditional methods? Enter Salt, a neobank focused on cross-border payments to make international banking easy for businesses. Welcome to another exciting conversation on Follow Startups. I'm your host Ankita Bhava, and today we have with us Udita Pal, co-founder at Salt, whose journey began by solving the very challenge she faced as a consultant with international firms. A communication graduate turned marketeer, she brings a decade long stint in startups, wielding expertise in content, marketing, and product strategy. Hi, Adita. Welcome to Follow Startups.
Yeah, hi. Good to be part of the show.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Before we dive into any business aspects, Udita, could you share a bit about your professional background that have shaped your journey so far?
I think I started my journey very early in life, in the sense that I became an author at the age of 15, followed by writing another book when I was 17. And when you have this kind of background, you often just jump into getting into content writing as a way out. And in India, I was not making a lot of money as a freelancer while delivering a lot of work. So I started working with a lot of foreign clients. And next thing I know, a journey that I started in my college as a content writer was now a full-fledged growth marketer, especially in the organic branding, is what I was handling for a lot of startups in Africa and Europe. While I was working with those startups, that was my first-hand bad experience of payment, transactions going wrong internationally. When I was dealing with US, it was very easy, it was very smooth. For that matter, to an extent, Europe was very easy as well. But then I started learning something called there are red flag currencies, which means if certain currencies come into India, they are heavily scrutinized. And I ended up being trapped over there, and it lead me to a place where I realized, okay, maybe not all payment methods are gonna be as easy. Around the same time, I realized that PayPal was charging an exorbitant fee. I'm talking about up to 11% of the transaction would go in that. And before anybody suggests that why we did not go ahead when any other product, this was the story of every other product back then. They all were expensive, and losing 5% of your transaction was very normal. And obviously, nobody would bear that cost on behalf of you. Definitely not your clients. And that's when I started gaining my experience. Coincidentally, I was also working with Let's Transport, which is my co founder's previous startup where he was CTO. And I would discuss with him very often. He's an IIT Kharagpur graduate, followed by a law degree. So I'm not sure about engineering degree, but I have utilized his law degree a lot. And I would often ask him that, hey, what can I do with this company? What is the message I should write so that they give me my money? How do I make sure I'm not charged so much? And amidst of all these things, he just said, if you are taking this problem so personally, why don't you build something in it? And the next thing I know, we are brainstorming multiple ideas, we are working on them. And then the COVID hit, and the aggressiveness to work on this idea became even more because the whole world was fully remote. Everybody wanted to buy something or the other, trapped in their houses. And it was the time for India to flourish as a market where D2C can take up. And we started building on this idea far more aggressively. And that is where it started from my journey, where my co founder came from, and how we put everything together.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now coming to Salt itself, which is very interesting name by the way. So, why Salt and tell me what is Salt?
Okay, so I love history. I think one thing, Ankit and I, my co-founder and I have been friends for 8 years now at this point, and we both love sharing historical anecdotes with each other in our fun time. That is our idea of quality time spending. And one of the moments when we were deciding what we want to name the company, I had this rule in the back of my mind, which was that we will not have a lot of vowels in our name. I want the name to be simple, and that I wanted it to be short. I wanted it to be simple. We went through a lot of names, and then we got stuck with salt. And Ankita, you're gonna love why, because the word salt comes from a Latin word called salar, which means salary. World's first ever currency was salt, and it was used for cleaning houses, removing evil spirits, making food, everything. Salt was that relevant to so many people, and we wanted to be as available as salt in somebody's house. And that has been the motto so far for us. And we love telling this to people because we look at it in every way. You look at it scientifically, you look at it ethical, in every way it makes sense. And in Indian process, salt is used to keep the evil spirits away.
So
So
yes.
बुरी नजर हटाने के लिए या typically people take some salt and turn around people and then they throw it away. So we want to take care of everything when it comes to your payments, and that's what we had in our mind.
So I'm so glad I asked you the story behind it. So now, Udita, can you walk us through the key products offered by Salt and how these products benefit your clients?
Got it. I'll just quickly cover up the industry so that we understand how big the problem is. That will explain why, despite not having a lot of products, we are still moving a lot of volume. So in India, $1.5 trillion is exchanged in cross-border payments. Okay. And out of that, if I remove the government projects and conglomerates which are in the picture, there is $300 billion, which is directly handled by the banks. And in cross-border payment space, despite PayPal being for more than a decade, it only owns 1 billion of that 300 billion which exist. That means there is clearly a lag. And Ankita, when was the last time you enjoyed going to a bank or talking to one? Right?
Not
Nobody
really.
likes. And that's where our journey started. That what if we give people virtual bank accounts in the country they're dealing with? So if you're in US and you're dealing with a client in US, or you're in India and you're dealing with a client in US, what will happen is you will do a little bit extensive KYC with us. And post that, you can create a virtual bank account in US. So to your client, you're sending a local bank account detail through which they are quickly giving in the money. And since it's a virtual bank account, that money will immediately be transferred to your Indian bank account. So for them, the ease comes into picture that they are doing a local transfer. For you, it is an ease that you don't have to go through a back and forth. And just to give an example, so many banks are very traditional in Europe and US, even right now, that if you're doing an international transaction, you have to physically visit the branch and then do it, which is something which is very cumbersome for people, and oftentimes it delays the payment. And in general, the banking experience is bad because sometimes they don't give you the relevant document. Like, for example, after every business transaction, you need to submit something called FIRC, which is a Foreign Inward Remittance Certificate, which basically means that the transaction you did was legit. And if tomorrow RBI knocks your door, you can go ahead and show it to them in order to avoid chaos. And it is very important because I was a very recent victim of it when my transactions from 2016 were flagged and I was asked by the government to show the proof. And of course, I did not have any. And this is a life example of why product like Sort is required. We currently work in the dynamics of something called we help people in creating virtual bank accounts for receiving money into India. Sending money to foreign countries is relatively more complicated and it requires some licensing, which we don't currently have, but we would love to pick that up as well. But the spectrum of the inward remittances we are handling for freelancers and B2B clients, it is somewhere between $50 to over 250K USD. It keeps shuffling. We have all kind of clients who are on board. The second product we have is for FDI, which is foreign direct investment, where foreigners who want to invest money into Indian startups, we ease the process out for them. We have automated everything on the back end. So something which would take them 3-4 weeks now just takes them 24 hours. We have smoothened out the whole journey for upcoming Indian entrepreneurs if they want to receive money from foreigners. And that is the second product we have. If you will quickly have a look at our site, we have a lot of free products, which are your subsidiary calculator, your how much money you're making calculator, which purpose code you need to use with your transaction. We have created a lot of small free products as a token for people so that even if you're not using us, but you're in the spectrum of what we do, then you have some free products which other people would charge you money for.
That's great. And I'm sure our audience would like a little bit more clarity on the people that you're trying to reach with Salt and how do you tailor your services to meet the specific needs of, such a diverse group. So some insights on that.
So anybody who is doing a B2B payments in business space, even as a freelancer, so you don't need to have a GST number, etc. But if you are a freelancer, you can go ahead and join Salt. Definitely, the biggest question which will come to mind is that how does a freelancer gets onboarded? So since you're a freelancer, you will be having invoices. You need to submit a proof that the money is coming from a relevant or verified resource. and then you go ahead and get onboarded. It's that simple. If you have a money coming from foreign country and you are established or non-established business, you can go ahead and join our get onboarded on the Salt. It's that simple.
All right. And would you like to share some of the names of existing clients that you have?
I think I'm not gonna be. I wish I had my team over here. So I know their names, but not their business names. So I am at a very confusing spot. But our site has testimonials from all of them, and they have been somebody who has been with us for last 2 3 years at this point, and they have not switched out. And definitely, price wars always exist. There are gonna be players who will be offering cheaper than us, or probably the way they are doing is better. But people keep coming back because they say that the human touch is so important. When they were on the platforms which were likes of PayPal, these all are global companies. They don't care about one specific countries and its compliances and its regulatory requirements. So people are just happy that there is human on the other side, and all the messages get reverted back to within 10 minutes, even if it's late at night. And these are not bots. We have a team who understands the concept 24/7 means 24/7.
What are these few things that you do to ensure that there is a human touch that remains?
Oh, funny thing is, if you will go and try to talk to company via LinkedIn, you will be calling me up. You will be reaching out via Facebook. You will be calling up my other co-founder. If you will be reaching out to us via Google, it will either reach my co-founder or I. The only customer care numbers which exist are for people who are already on Salt. If you're not on Salt and you're interested, you directly get to talk to the founders.
That is
So that
amazing.
no, nobody else can convince better than us that you should be on our platform, right? So definitely that is there. Other than that, so that is how personally we take the customer care service, because when a client is frustrated or they're not happy, you deserve to talk to the founder, because we have put the team together with so much effort and they understand the value of emotional intelligence. So if you're going out of your way and looking for some number to contact and complain, might it directly be the founder. That is one. The second is that CRM team has shifts divided. So they all make sure that they are available to the clients late at night. To an extent, I often, surprisingly, we don't get clients who are reaching out to us late at night, other than the 3 a.m. entrepreneurs overthinking about what is the rate which they will have to pay. And it is, I'll say at this point, we have a muscle memory to quickly check the phone and reply. And lastly, there is no way of explaining it, but the my team who deals with client directly at this point personally know their clients to a place where I just ask that, hey, why your client did not do transaction this month? And my team can just say, oh, don't you know they're switching their business from this to this, their entity from this to this, so they will be doing transaction from the coming quarter, not in this one. And I'm like, that's a very personal information. How do you know it? And they're like, oh, they share everything. And that's how you know you're succeeding as a company and as a brand, because they go out of their way to give you information for the future.
Incredible. So, Udita, in terms of your current stage, where would you place Salt?
We are currently seed funded. Definitely, we found our PMF. The last 2 years were about finding the PMF. That's why we never, there is a reason we are dealing with transactions ranging from $5 to 250K USD, right? Because we did not want to define what market we want to target immediately. We wanted to give it a shot and understand how the market in itself is divided based on ticket sizes in India. So the PMF is done, and now we are at a place where we know what all we want to target, how we want to target, how we can do a better targeting for the SMEs as well to be able to find us, and for that matter, freelancers. And the constant approach that we have is that we are parallelly making them vigilance about everything. We have had so many clients who did not understand the value of an FIRC. We told them that, you have to keep this PDF with you in case something goes wrong. And they were like, nobody ever told us that it was that important to keep. I will have to go back to my bank and get everything back. So definitely it's the small thing which counts in a market like this. We are at, I'll say, seed stage. We currently have over 1,000 clients. We have raised 500,000 from Y Combinator and friends and family as of now. And it has been a fun journey. We raced around 2 years ago now that I think back, actually 3 years ago. And it has been amazing journey so far because there has been so much growth. We have literally seen, we have not had a chart going down ever. So it's always the volumes are going up month
Hmm.
on month. And so definitely that is our greatest flex as of now.
And are you looking to raise any further?
Yes, we are in the process of currently going ahead and checking, reaching out to investors, talking to them because we want to grow the company far more aggressively and we have an amazing path in mind. Think of it as Stripe for cross-border payments, but made better, for sure.
Wow, definitely. So, Rita, one of the main selling points that I read about Salt is its cost effectiveness compared to PayPal and any other traditional banks. So, can you break down the cost structure and explain how businesses save money using your platform?
Wow, lovely question. The thing is, it is as transparent as it can be. It's 1.75% of the transaction. There is no subscription fee. There is no GST additionally charged. There is no Forex fee, nothing else. It's a transparent 1.75% exactly at the live rate which are currently going on. That's it. And there are so many platforms who say they are cheap, but they don't mention that there will be an 18% GST, which will be coming up. They are clean, they have nothing to hide, but there is a forex fee which you will not know of. So in the market where people are saying, oh, this is our clear pricing, nothing is going wrong, they are not. They have so many hidden figures going on in the back of the mind. So we literally made our branding. There are no lies. When we say it's 1.75%, it is 1.75%, which is relatively cheaper when you think of so many players in the market. With some, it's very obvious because there are platforms which have, like PayPal currently is at 2.59, if I'm not wrong, or 2.53. And there are platforms who promise a subscription fees, but you have to pay a GST. There are platforms who do a flat 1%, but there are so many hidden charges that by the end of it, you have already lost 3%. And then there are platforms who charge you per transaction $2 to $5. But again, if the volume has increased, you will be paying a different price altogether. So, like I say, that the concept of clear pricing is still difficult for people to understand. When I talk about banks, I have heard different experiences. People who have got beautiful rates by bank, which even as a startup I can't match. The only thing is that they have to physically visit the branch to get all of their paperwork done. And that is something they say that I have to hire two people in office whose job is to go to the bank and take care of everything. It will be easier to just, have something which is all digital first. And that is where it comes from that how the pricing and everything has been put together. We are in very early stage, but we are growing little too rapidly at this point, and you need investors' money to be able to sustain that growth. So that is where we are at.
So, while you try to ensure that there is a very precise pricing line maintained at Salt, I'm interested to understand how your revenue model works. So, how do you ensure profitability in such a dynamic market?
So starting with the basics that we charge 1.75%.
Yeah.
Clearly, some percentage of it is going directly to our pocket. The other way which adds to making money is that the banks through which we are doing transfers, we get a guaranteed discount from them for every time we reach a certain volume. So we make money over there. We make some percentage from the 1.75 we have. Like I mentioned to you, we have FDI product where we have a different pricing altogether, which changes from client to client and the volume and the amount of things that they need. So we are looking at a perspective where the foreigner has invested money, but a lot of time Indian entrepreneurs don't have CAs to look into those things. So we take care of a lot of their paperwork when it comes to those things as well. So the pricing is definitely different, but on an average, we can assume that 0.8% of every transaction belongs to us, and that is our simplest revenue model.
Got it, got it. And Salt supports transactions in multiple currency. We all know that. So can you tell us which currencies are supported and what geographical regions does Salt primarily serve?
Got it. So we serve HKD, Singapore dollars, and Australian, Canadian, US, UK, Europe. These are the seven main currencies with which we actively deal. For the people who are not in our currency radar, let's say you are from Africa somewhere or you are doing it from Middle East for that matter, There are specific rates in something called a multi-currency account where you can receive money from any of the foreign country, then it's just converted to USD and then sent to your bank account. So people can definitely use that. But currently, these are the seven currencies we are actively working on. And we will be opening up to Middle East soon. We are just trying to figure out the last of the details to be able to put together and some clients to beta test the transactions with, which I hope I get from your video for sure.
Definitely, definitely. So, I love your energy and I love how you're answering all these questions so passionately. And, you have a co-founder, right, Ankit? So tell me something about him. What's his background?
He graduated from IIT Kharagpur. I forgot the year, and I can see him looking at me from the other room, so I will be accountable later. But he graduated from IIT Kharagpur in 2012, and from there he moved to CA Technologies, where he was a software developer. Parallelly, he got his degree in law because he comes from a family of lawyers and doctors. So clearly, he can't be a doctor. So, but it's easier to try to get a law degree. So he got into law. And then he started working in Let's Transport as one of the co-founders. And that current company is doing amazing. They are doing revenue in crores on monthly basis. And he left that back in 2020 to start Salt with me. And the friendship with him outside being co-founder has been the best experience of my life because I don't think I would have ever gotten an opportunity to be a co-founder considering the background I come from a conventional Indian VC ecosystem. I'm an arts graduate from a tier 3 college with experience of being freelancer with you know clients in Europe and Africa, and you don't get funded for being from such background until and unless you get lucky. And I think I got lucky because I had somebody who was filling in all the checks which are required for the pedigree, which is your IIT graduate, has run a company in past, and he's the smartest person I know. Even when it was not his problem that my cross-border payments were not getting into functioning, he would just take it personally. And the COVID was an amazing time for both of us to understand that why we want to get into fintech, and it's not at all as glamorous as it seems on the outside. Because of you see UPI first app, you see Jupiter 5, cute branding, cool stuff, and you're
Yeah.
like, this is what I want to build. But B2B space is very different. It's like painting the wall white, literally, and thinking of building infrastructure on which other startups will be working in the long run. And with him, the energy is very different. He's the smart one, he's the coder, and I'm the seller. So he builds product, I sell them, and that has been our dynamics for so long that it ended up impressing a lot of investors.
So, Udita, with the two of you, what's your total team size? And, just some insights on the current roles.
So we are a team of 20 as of now, with plus one a dog who is always in office constantly. She's our chief happiness officer. So Ankit and I are the two co-founder. We have a small tech and marketing team, and then we have few folks for product and looking into legal compliances, etc. And we have the best thing that we have done is our whole CRM team is based out of women who are restarting their career after having kids. So I don't, people have an inhibition around hiring women who just had a baby because they will be having responsibilities, or these women took a relatively longer career break to look out for their family. And we have an internal mandate. We will only be hiring women who are restarting their career because there is nobody more dedicated than a woman who wants to prove herself. I just know it somewhere in the back of my mind. And that has been probably the best philosophy that we have worked with because they are the reason we have such happy customers.
Lovely. And are you on the lookout for any more talent to join your team?
I think almost every other field, we want to make our sales team bigger. We want to make our CRM team bigger, backend developers, and there are definitely never enough content writers in a team.
Yeah.
So we are looking out for so many people right now to make our team bigger and to make the impact bigger as well, because the younger and crazier the team is, the more output you get. I personally believe that.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So we've almost reached the end of this conversation, and I'm Honestly a little bit sad that we have to end this conversation because I'm loving this energy. Udita, now it seems like a good time to ask you what future innovations or new features can we expect from Salt to further enhance the international payment experience for your clients?
I think I already gave a hint that outward is
Yeah.
definitely which is in the back of our mind. We want to pick it up so badly. And the second will be probably making our current processes smoother. People don't like how extensive our KYCs are, so probably find a way to smoothen it out. There are some use cases. We would love to kind of automate the entire trade and the way people look at it. I'm talking about the reconciling bills, the credit you can get against it. So what we have in mind is to automate it for the future because underrated ecosystem for a cross-border payments company.
Hmm. In fact, the concept of this whole hybrid neobank is relatively novel. So, how do you perceive the growing acceptance of neobanking in recent times, and what market opportunities do you foresee for Salt within the fintech sector, which you said it's a plain white wall?
So the funniest thing is Ankit and I have an internal WhatsApp group in which we store the funniest screenshots. So our team has sent out our Aadhaar card, both Ankit and my Aadhaar card, to so many clients to convince them that we exist for real. They have the company shareholding document, and God knows what all. They have my PAN card that I remember because one of my teammates just came, took a picture of my PAN card, and she left. She said that I need to prove someone you exist for real, and I was like, fair, fair. Okay, just take it. So there's gonna be a lot of time and acceptance coming, and there are times when they are like, so that literally happened with us that somebody had settled a transaction, and we said you can just check your Indian bank account, the money is there, and they're like, what the? I'm not believing you. What is this? You can't scam. And they came back and they're like, the money is there. And we are like, yes. And he's like, but it takes 3, 4 days. And we are like, no, sir, it takes 24 hours. And he was just so happy. He just made us talk to his son, his daughter, and he was like, they made the money come in 24 hours. And that made us realize that the concept is very new and very interesting thing. I think India is way forward than other country when it comes to any kind of payment altogether. I mean,
Hmm.
UPI was just one reflection. Every time I go out somewhere and talk to people, I realize we are far more advanced for other people. We should not take it for granted. And I think when I think of it, it's going to take a far more longer with amount of scams which are happening. Like earlier in morning, I was having a DHL scam with me. So the only thing which comes in the way is we need far better ways of controlling the scams which are happening so that we can regain the taste, trust of public. Other than that, I think we are good to go the way we are doing it.
Lovely. So, Adita, we do have plans to promote this video, extensively. So, are there any specific areas where Salt is currently looking for assistance? Whether it's in terms of partnerships, collaborations, or connecting with industry experts, your target market, anything. So, this is your call for support.
Okay, I would love to meet people who can help us with partnership with banks, partnership with bigger clients whom we can kind of get on board. Obviously, they can have their own share of the volumes they will be doing with us. I would love a model like that, and I'm continuously look out for younger people who can make reels for fun. I think we need to move to a place where we are doing these things. Any bank who has a cross-border license is going to be a great person to connect with for this. And clearly investors, because we need money. So anybody who invests in fintech, US incorporated companies will be a great person for us to go ahead with.
But before we end this, let's do a quick rapid fire round. Are you ready? Just quick five
Sure,
questions.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
So, a book that you would like to recommend that has greatly influenced your career.
Not influenced my career, but Imperfectionist Guide to Losing Control. It's one of my favorite book to read. Made me realize that being founder doesn't mean being perfect. You're allowed to have your own fair share of flaws, and you're allowed to be stupid.
Good one. Okay. Question two. What is your go-to productivity tool or app that you find most helpful in your daily work?
Chat GPT. I am way too dependent on it on daily basis. Nobody should know my history with Chat GPT. Whoever I am, I pretend to be. My entire personality comes from there.
Great answer. Okay, question number three. A fun fact about you that most people don't know yet.
Amount of arguments I get into with my dog late at night while telling her that how my friends ruined my day or etc. is just too much. So she will be sitting in a corner and I'm like, and guess what Sneha did? She said that to me. How can she say that to me, right? And it just hits me after 30 minutes into my monologue that I'm talking to a dog who clearly at this point just wants to have food and sleep.
Question number 4. What is your favorite quotation or mantra that you live by? Any mantra.
Oh, Lupita Nyong. She once said, no matter where you come from, your dreams are valid. And every time I feel like the universe is plotting something against me, I just remind myself the same exact thing. And it helps a lot.
Okay, one final question. What is your one piece of advice for the young audience watching this?
Do it once you realize that the problem is too personal to you, else you will be just chasing vanity.
Very well said. So, how are you feeling? I hope this was worthy of your time.
This was amazing. I think I needed this before I start my day.
I'm so glad we could do this. So, Dita, what's your one wish for Salt that you hope comes true in the near future? And I want you to make this wish out loud.
$100 billion valuation in next 5 years. I mean, it's too ambitious, but okay.
So
Definitely that's what I would like to go for.
you're gonna get it, I'm sure. Well, here's to Salt fostering global growth with every transaction. Thank you so much, Udita.
Thank you so much, Ankita. Lovely talking to you.
So if you'd like to stay updated with the latest developments and business insights at Salt, you can follow their channel on follow.us/startups. And to feature your startup, you can write to me at ankita.pahwa@follow.us. We would love to hear your story. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for the next one.